And Richard Grace was the first one to grace our program with a howdy.
With this present.
Howdy, which is the official greeting of the OpenGOTO community. Mike Wiesner wouldn't give us a howdy. He just says hi. Hi from cloudy Arizona. Dale Beasley, good afternoon, gents. We've got a good afternoon, a howdy, and a hi. Hi, Dale. I have a big shout out for Jerry Hubble. I'm not going to tell you why right now, but once the show gets going, we'll talk about it.
I just sent you an email, Scott.
Did you? I'm hearing that email come in. You are a gosh darn genius, Jerry.
March 2nd, 2033. where will you be? The Lucy spacecraft will be right here, but what about you? Over the next 12 years, NASA's Lucy mission will explore more asteroids than any previous mission, flying by 1 main belt asteroid and 7 Trojan asteroids. These ancient time capsules will allow us to trace the origins of our solar system. We invite you to accompany Lucy on its 12-year journey by creating your own time capsule. Set aside a box of mementos, create a digital file, or simply write a letter to yourself. Get creative. We encourage you to post a photo, drawing, video, or other description on social media using the hashtag #LucyTimeCapsule. At each major mission milestone, we'll remind you to revisit and add to your time capsule. Consider, what would you tell your future self? In what ways will you grow? How do you want to mark this current moment in your life? Lucy carries her own time capsule into space, a plaque with words of wisdom for our descendants who may one day come across the spacecraft long after its primary mission ends. The messages encourage hope and humility, knowledge and curiosity, appreciation of humanity, and exploration of the cosmos. We hope you'll join us, and Lucy, as we look with anticipation upon the unknown of our future, both as individuals and as humankind.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Scott Roberts and Jerry Hubble here, and this is the 172nd episode of the OpenGOTO community. And Jerry, for a long time, has wanted to revisit information that we've had in our old programs, but we just had not yet figured out how to go through all those hours and hours. We must, how many hours of programming? We must have 300 hours.
300, 400, yeah, just on this show alone, maybe.
Right, of programming. You know, and so it was almost like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but Jerry had figured out how to dig into YouTube to find the script, right? The transcript.
The transcript.
Right. And so from there, we were able to search a search term that we wanted to for a topic. And what was really cool about it, and for anyone else that does broadcasting on YouTube, you might want to listen up if you don't already know this. You can then just go, use a simple editor and go right to the segment of where you want to review that, if in fact you want to save that off. So. Right. So I thought that was very cool, and you just emailed me something about word counter, something like that.
Right. So I searched the word pulse and searched the first instance of it, and that's where I figured we started talking about pulse guiding, and that basically was the starting point of the video where I started that thing, and then I searched from the bottom up to see when the last time I mentioned pulse guiding. And so that got us close to the end point. So that was kind of neat.
Right.
And yeah, I did send you an email just a few moments ago. So the key thing is to figure out what keywords are in this video, right? There's 14,000 words in this transcript, I think.
Oh yeah, look at this.
And and there's 1,700 unique words. So that's the email. I found a website that counts the unique words and shows them to you and how many are in each one. So now that all that's left to do now is to go through and search the keywords to see what terms are in there that we want to, what topics basically you want to cover, as long as we mention it in the video.
Sure. Well, I know somewhere in this video the word teeth is actually in there. So teeth. Yeah, hopefully that relates to the gear teeth in a
right.
A mount or something. But then you think about, well, goodness, everything that we say is being written down somehow.
That's right. Just even this word here, and this word, and this
and
word
that word,
here,
and this word, and anything else that we say, and names like Richard Grace that I throw out
Richard
there.
Richard Grace is going to be out there.
Mike Wiesner, who's watching the show, and Dale Beasley, and Bethel Douglas Barrett. He says, "Hey, y'all." Everybody's got their own little greeting right now. It was all howdies before. That's all right. Martin Eastburn. Hey, do want to give a little shout out to Martin. Martin sent me, and I have to read it, but Martin sent me some cool stuff.
Oh,
I got to kind of figure out what those are all about. But experiments with a microscope, so that's very
oh,
cool.
nice. Mhm.
To start doing some more microscope shows. The International Halley Watch. Okay, this is a program. Thank you very much, Martin. This is a blast from my past because this was the program, my first Pro-Am project, which I did with Dr. Stephen Edberg at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And of course, he's the author of the book. This was written in 1983, which is very cool.
Oh, that's neat.
Some,
You were only 2 years old then, right, Scott?
yeah, I'm only 2. Some looks like photo micrographs done on
Oh,
Polaroid. Yes, Martin,
oh
I
yeah.
enough
Yep.
to know what Polaroids are.
We used to do the same thing with in our electronics lab, taking Polaroids of our oscilloscope traces when we did experiments.
Okay.
We had a camera mount, a Polaroid camera mount on that would swing over to the screen, and we'd take pictures of it.
That's cool. Stephen Hawking, The Universe in a Nutshell. That's a great book. Thank you very much. Thank you. And a 2013 magazine from Science on exoplanets.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I know you're going to be interested in that, Jerry.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Looks like it's all about exoplanets. That's very cool. Thank you, Martin. That's very kind of you, man. Very kind. Let's see. Mike Wiesner's here with us. So Jerry will be going into space next Tuesday with William Shatner. You know William Shatner, Jerry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I served on the Enterprise with him.
That's right.
Didn't you know I went to Starfleet Academy? Don't you
Yeah,
have?
you and Spock had that fist fight.
Yeah, right.
Richard Gray says, I had the first Light 102 out this weekend checking out Jupiter and Saturn. Most of the other gear is packed. Love those ESI pieces. Thank you very much, Richard. That's very kind. Pekka Haltala says, hello, everybody. So terrific Tuesday and GSP ahead. That's right. We have the 66th Global Star Party. So I'm going to, I'll talk about that here in a little bit.
You know that go back to the eyepiece thing with the 102, you know, you got to be careful with those because they're so sharp, you'll poke your eye out with them.
You're killing me, Smalls.
You got to be careful with that.
You gotta be careful. Oh my God. Let's see. Aaron Thompson.
Good. Aaron had a good, interesting
guy.
thing
Yeah,
with his,
he is. But who else would we want to send up there? Absolutely, we'd want to set up William Shatner, right?
Mm-hmm,
So,
that's right. Some people want him to stay up there.
Oh, if he was watching this right now, he would fly to your home, Jerry.
That'd be awesome. That's great. Let him call in. Let's have him call in the show.
He could still kick your butt. Let's see. The dad frequency says he'd like a 7-foot diameter telescope. Me too.
7 foot. That's big.
Me too. It's big. Let's see.
If it's an optic.
Hello, stargazers. Caesar Brolo. Hi, everybody. See you tonight on the Global Star Party number 66. That's right.
Did you fix my name on the schedule?
Did I spell it the way Hubble's supposed to be spelled again?
That's right.
I will, Jerry.
I don't like. I mean, I don't know.
Are you against the
No. I just
Hubble side of your family.
No. I just don't want people thinking that my name's spelled the same because I'm trying to take advantage of it. That's all.
Oh, I see.
That's why I cringe at it every time I see it.
Yeah. David Samard says, Scott and Jerry, the problem is me. I need a new computer. Thank you for your excellent service. We were working with Mr. Samard recently?
Probably.
You remember?
I don't know.
David. I do know what this is about. I do.
What
Yeah.
is it?
He was trying to get his computer with a wired hookup with his tablet with a Wi-Fi hookup at the same
Oh,
time.
yeah. Yeah.
He's jumping in saying that he needs a new computer.
I don't think we don't want to give people the impression that we get so many damn calls that we can't even keep track of what they are. These, they only
That's
come
true.
in once a week, right? So we
That's
should be able
true.
to remember them.
We switch gears a lot, though. We do.
Yeah.
We do. But David, thank you, man. Jeff Wise is saying hello. Stargazers. Wes McDonald's is watching. Most of it is incorrect if it came from Jerry. Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Wes is my peer check.
So you guys have a
Fine.
falling out? Is that what happened?
No. I
No.
was just talking to him a few minutes ago.
Yeah, you're probably talking trash with him, right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Let's see. Harold Locke says vaudevillians. David Samard again, just waiting for a new computer. I tried my daughter's computer and the program ASCOM did load, so I just need a new one. Alas. David, you might, before you get a new one, you might just like wipe it clean and start over with a new version of OS and everything, and you may find it works. So
He might be starting out like David Levy's computer that we were working on. Remember?
I do.
What his problem was? He was trying to use Windows XP.
Windows XP.
Yeah.
Remember you guys, Windows XP.
That's 20 years old this year.
Yeah, it still works though.
It still
Right?
does. Yep, on old stuff.
Bethel Douglas Barrett says somebody had their coffee this afternoon. That's right. We did. Wes McDonald says, poor guy ain't going to survive at 90 years old. Is that how old William Shatner is? He's 90? Dang.
Yeah.
Isn't he still making Priceline commercials? I don't know. Dale Beasley is asking, is it possible to use a ZWO Plus with a PMC-8 mount?
What is that? Is a camera or something else?
ZWO Plus. And guys, I need to take this. Hold on for a sec.
I guess I'll carry the show, Scott. So let me find the ZWO Plus. I'm not watching the chat, so I can't. If you guys speak up, I won't be able to see it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see what this is here. Let's see. Tyler's calling me. I don't know if I should answer this or not. Nah, I'll just leave him unless he's watching the show. Let me find this ZWO Plus gadget. ASI Air Plus. ASI Air Plus, is that what you're talking about? The ASI Air? Unfortunately, I can't see the chat. Oh, Wes is calling me now, so let me see what Wes says. I put my big headphones
Sorry,
on.
guys. That was Mount Wilson Observatory calling me. So
Hey, Wes.
Wes says you hurt his feelings.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I'm on there. Okay, thanks. Bye. So it's the ASI Air Plus. And of course it does work with ASI Air. It's worked for a long time since we have an Indy driver that runs on the ASI Air. Oh, Tyler's coming in. He's coming to chime in.
Jerry.
It's ASI Air Plus, right?
Yes.
Where are you?
My leg was kind of giving me some bothersome, so I stepped away from the office. I didn't want to risk it.
See that?
So Dale's talking about the ASI Air Plus, which is the new Pro,
Version.
basically. It's got a Wi-Fi edition. And David, I'm going to butcher it, the gentleman David.
David
He
Samard.
needs Samard. He needs a new computer because ASCOM will not update to the new firmware. It won't update to the new 6.5 because his computer is old.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have the .NET
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Y'all are killing me.
That was the problem with David Levy's
Yes.
XP computer too.
So I want to say this is the effort we go to answer a question. You see, we had 4 people jump on it.
That's right.
Yeah, and I can't jump anymore.
Yeah.
Well, great.
That's good.
Okay. So another mystery solved. That's great. But didn't we find like the old version of ASCOM?
We so you can download previous versions of ASCOM, and I'm not sure how far back it goes. I can't remember.
Pretty far back.
But but they're out there, so you can find previous versions of ASCOM to load, which will work on XP. And there's actually a page, and then the other thing he was looking for, I think, was some driver for a camera. He had talked to me about that before also, and I found some information about it on SBig's website. It was an SBig camera that was he wanted to use CCD Ops. Do you remember that program, CCD Ops?
I do, yeah.
He was looking for a version of that program, and he asked me if I had it, and I didn't, unfortunately. So he's still trying to maintain his old stuff. It's really difficult when it's more than 20 years old.
Yeah.
Although at the nuclear plant,
away, so
at the nuke plant, we have stuff that's 40 and 50 years old that we maintain. So,
right. I bet you. There's a way. I bet you there's a way.
Well, you know that saying, where there's a will, there's a way.
I've heard that saying.
You just have enough will and enough dollars.
Hopefully, it's not the will that you give out at the end of your life. So.
Right. Well,
that's right. Aaron Thompson says Windows XP SE was the king of Windows OS until Win 7. And Aaron would know. He also says Hubble's a big name, but Jerry, spelled L-E, is a big name, but Jerry is no slouch. Understatement.
Thank you.
That's very kind. Well, Tyler Bowman, thank you for coming on, hanging out with us for a little bit. Gary Palmer, who's taking the plunge on Windows 11 then? Big smile. And who else is with us? Harold Locke, Dale Beasley, Aaron Thompson. And Gary Palmer says the ASI Air Plus is not released yet.
Oh.
But he has one. Of course.
Of course.
Gary always has one.
That's why he created the business he has, so he could get all the new stuff.
That's right. Gets all the new toys.
Well,
everybody else gets them. But that's cool. That's cool. Gary Palmer is definitely a guru, so.
Yeah, Tyler's trying to say something.
Go ahead and say it, Tyler.
Dale, they do work. It's the same. It's just a little bit of more, it just has a Wi-Fi function, an eMMC card or processor chip in it. So just a few minor internal upgrades to better improve the ASI Air from the predecessor of the Pro. But everything still works because I use it today. The Plus with our PMC8 mounts.
And the reason that works, Tyler, is because we build industry standard interfaces into our products. So it will always work as long as the third party tools you buy
still work.
Right?
Right. That's right.
That's correct.
Well, cool. I'll be watching the chats here if there's any other questions. But Jerry wanted to cover or to review pulse guiding. Jerry, since we did this episode in 2020, it was I think it was episode 40. Is that right?
Episode 40, July 30th.
July 30th. So it was quite a while ago.
Mhm.
Has pulse guiding, is there any of the technology has changed much since we did this?
No, for our unique product, the PMC8, we did upgrade our interface, our legacy ST4 interface. The original release of the ST4 port, if you don't know, I'm sure a lot of people do know that have the first release of the product that we did 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, had an analog ST4 port. And what that means is that the interface circuitry I built didn't use the standard opto isolators. There's a long story behind it. I don't want to get into it, but I built an analog circuit that read the port, but it had to be calibrated for a camera if the camera didn't meet the strict requirement for the input from the camera. So some cameras worked great, like the standard Orion, what was it? The standard autoguider, star shooter autoguider camera, and then the QHY5 worked fine. But then the Lodestar camera didn't work for a guiding camera. The ST4 port output didn't match the requirements or meet the requirements for the standard calibration. So the old analog system had to be calibrated, but that's been long gone. I introduced a digital interface on the iXOS 100. And then now all the products we're going to be shipping now into the future have the digital ST4 port. So that's really the only thing that's changed for us in terms of hardware. Most programs today that use auto guiding or that interface with the auto guiding camera can use the ASCOM pulse guiding feature. Pulse guiding doesn't use the ST4 cable, the old legacy ST4. People are moving away from that now. It's better because you use the same cable that you use to communicate to the mount or to the camera as the same one you use to do pulse guiding. So it's no big deal. You don't have to have a separate ST4 cable on your mount system anymore. So that's the difference in the hardware.
Okay. All right. So why don't we go ahead and play the segment that we had from last year and
Sure.
then get your comments on it. Here we go. Jerry, you wanted to talk a little bit about pulse guiding. How does it work?
Right. So the ASCOM platform, and it's been around for a long time, pulse guiding. Pulse guiding is a function of the ASCOM driver. It's also in the Indy driver. It's basically a general purpose process where instead of using the standard legacy ST4 contact closure inputs into the mount, which is a hardware interface coming from the camera system, it's basically, instead of doing it that way and then the mount system interpreting those contact closures into the firmware and then driving the mount accordingly, speeding up and slowing down or moving the RA axis or moving the deck axis to keep the star centered. It's actually bypasses that whole hardware channel and sends commands from like PhD2 guiding into the mount itself, into the driver, I should say, into the ASCOM driver. And the ASCOM driver then sends the commands to the mount to do the same exact thing. So there's an API, the way I've implemented it in the PMC8, and I think probably most people implement it this way, is that there's a move command or a move method in the ASCOM driver that you can use to move the mount a slight amount at a certain rate. So basically you move it, so you're at a standard tracking rate all the time, and then you want to speed it up a tiny bit and then slow it down a tiny bit. So what you do is you set the rate or you move it faster or slower for that tiny amount of time, okay, for milliseconds. And the PMC8 operates at can recognize pulses in the pulse guide commands less than 20 milliseconds. commands, and you can set the guiding rate. There's pulse guiding will basically do that. It's just like on a hardware channel when you push the button to go east, it goes faster east, and that's exactly what it's doing in the ASCOM command. So you go a little faster east, or go slower east, go faster west, or go slower east. Same thing. So that's how it works in an overview. But there's a couple other things that are interesting with the method. PhD guiding takes advantage of the fact that when you're connected to the mount, you know where the mount is pointing in the sky, and you know what the declination is. So to be a little smoother and to scale the motion a little better, it takes advantage of that information, because as you move the scope towards the North Celestial Pole, the amount of movement you get with the pulse is smaller and smaller in physical motion and linear, and I should say it's kind of like a linear translation of an angular motion. So for example, let's say you've got a star at declination 0, and it's moving a little bit, like a half to 1 arc second, let's say or 2 arc seconds, let's say it's moving around at 2 arc seconds. All right. So you could pulse the RA a certain amount, and it'll correct for that little 2 arc second movement, okay? Now, as you move up in the sky towards declination of 90, you have to pulse the RA axis longer, because that motion in RA is a shorter, it's the same angular distance, but we're not talking about angular, we're talking about a little motion that's still more linear at that point. So in that regard, you have to move the RA axis a little further to correct for that. That type of thing.
Is pulse guiding this, is it more accurate? Is it?
I think people have compared the two, the ST4, and they typically say it in terms of guiding performance, overall performance is about the same. But in terms of calibration and doing the things where you're at in the sky, it's a little better, and it works faster to do the calibration. I think that's really where the performance is, where it takes advantage of the location in the sky. Mm-hmm. It's really calculating where you're at and what the calibration should be for the corrections. So they are, I guess you can consider, if you do a better measurement wherever you're at in the sky, then is probably a little more accurate. And but in terms of overall performance, I don't know that it's any better. I've heard people compare them that say they're basically the same, but I don't know. I haven't done that comparison myself. Do you have any insight into that, Gary?
I think you're muted, Gary.
Yeah. So I was just sorting out some images. What was your question there, Jerry?
So the question is, the question was about performance difference between pulse guiding and using the standard ST4 port. Have you seen any real difference between the two, or have you used the ST4 port?
I generally use the ST4 port.
Okay.
But I know things have changed, but I think that's a little bit of habit. Lots of the cameras have it on, it's just easy.
Right.
And using the Exos 2 last week on guiding, when I was imaging the comet, I just ran it on ST4. It was straight in ST4, and it was working fine. I had no real sort of issues there. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I can see problems with different cameras, maybe slowing things down. The frame rate of the camera or the size of the image maybe coming into the guiding software. I could see that slowing things down.
Right. Mm-hmm. So the command.
Another guy here, Jason Burns, had a question. He says, "Does the PMC8 system cope well with MetaGuide?" I'm not familiar with that. He says
MetaGuide was an early system. I used that back in 2010.
Oh wow! Okay.
I remember that guiding system before I discovered PhD.
He says AKA fast exposures and short corrections.
Yeah, it should work. I mean, the PMC8 is a pretty high performance. It'll accept corrections pretty quickly. on both the pulse guiding and the ST4 port.
Well, having all our processors on there, everything is all dedicated. So the from the time that it says move, it moves.
Oh yeah. And
It
the other
moved
thing is the high baud rate that we communicate. That's the thing with the
Yeah.
pulse guiding is we communicate at 115K baud over the channel instead of at 9600 baud, which is basically the standard for most other mounts. It's 9600 baud.
Right.
So that allows you to communicate very quickly and get. I did that because we needed high response time on the wireless channel.
Yeah.
When we're pushing buttons, you want, as soon as you touch the pad, you want to.
I know,
you want
it's
to hear
like
the mount move.
hardwired in.
Exactly. That was the whole design goal for that.
Eduardo Simone says, so your USB 3.0 cameras run better on pulse guiding, ? Because of data transfer speeds?
Well, that's a different set of data. It's as long as your camera rate, your exposure time and your rate of updates for your cameras. Let's say you're doing 1 second exposures, and you're getting that data over to the PhD2 in time to do the processing every second. That I don't know if there's a big difference between USB 2 and USB 3 in that regard, because people have been using PhD2 for a long time with USB 2 cameras.
Right.
So you can typically keep up with 1 second exposures and getting all that data to transfer. The data transfer for the USB port for the pulse guiding function is a separate.
Okay, so we kind of that's where it sort of ended, Jerry. Was there anything that you wanted to kind of add to that?
Yeah, what I was getting ready to say was there's a separate data stream from the image itself that goes to the PhD2 processes, and it comes down, and the pulse guide commands are very short. They're like 20 bytes of data that gets sent every second. So in terms of bandwidth, USB 3 and USB 2, there's no difference really in terms of auto guiding, unless you've got it set up to bring in a huge image to guide on. But typically you focus in on a star, right? You got the field of view and then you target the star. And I think PhD2 guiding, if I'm not mistaken, it's smart enough to just download, bring in the picture, download just the image of the star and do the calculations on it and then send the command. I don't think it processes all that huge amount of data that cameras can provide sometimes. It's like 5 megapixels of data. You don't need to transfer that every second, so it's not needed. So I'm sure it's pretty efficient that way. Should only be a few thousand bytes, I would think, that it transfers over the USB 2 or USB 3 communications channel. But
Okay.
so that got into the nuts and bolts of how pulse guiding works in terms of where you point it in and where it's at in the sky. Hold on.
I didn't know they allowed dogs at star parties. I guess they do. Anyhow. Well,
I'm sorry.
great. Yeah.
So that's basically about pulse guiding. If does anybody have any questions? I guess I don't know.
No, they kind of got into a conversation about the ASI Air and Windows operating systems. Let's see. We've had some people kind of join in mid-program here, but for all of you that might have done that, thank you for joining us. Tonight we're getting ready for a very special program, because today is the day that the universe changed, big time. Okay, today's the day that Edwin Hubble had figured out that on this M31 Andromeda galaxy plate that he did on the 100-inch telescope, that at that time in 1923, up until this time, they felt that astronomers felt that the universe was maybe only 100,000 light years, an unimaginable distance at the time, in size, and that these spiral things in the sky were spiral nebula, spiral clouds. By finding something called a Cepheid variable, this is a variable star that has a very, very regular, like clockwork variability. And they were able to determine that this Cepheid variable was in fact in this spiral cloud, and that it wasn't just a bunch of nebular gas they were seeing. It was a bunch of stars, billion stars, or what they thought was millions of stars at the time. And overnight, in 1923, on this day, the universe expanded to now millions and millions of light years. So it's really a momentous day, and you can imagine, long-held beliefs by cosmologists and scientists at that time. Overnight, all their work was blown away, in one night, and they had to start all over. They had to go back to the chalkboard and start all over again, and that is the process of science. It's developing a hypothesis, creating a theory, trying to prove that theory right or wrong, and that's the whole process of it. So, so experimentalists will come up with the experiment, they'll build the instrument, they'll test it out and see what they see, and so and then it has to be a repeatable experiment. And, but certainly the ability to see stars in these spiral clouds has been repeated, many, 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 many times. So little doubt that there are external galaxies out there. I love the story of it. I think that today is kind of an auspicious day for astronomers. So we've got a great lineup. We had I was hoping to have a surprise, presentation from Mount Wilson Observatory. They just called, that was the phone call that I just took. They had to bow out at the last second because Carnegie has new rules on making presentations. So they used to be kind of something you could call up and they could do almost, at a moment's notice, but not anymore, which is okay. They have done lots for us in the past, and they promise to do more in the future, which is great. But the program looks like this. With every program, we start off with David Levy. He'll give an introduction. He always does something that's very poetic, so that's going to be cool. Carol Orge, president of the Astronomical League, will be on to talk about the league, the Astronomical League, and to read off door prize questions. So it'll be very interesting, very good. Dave Eicher is going to give his full presentation on his full lecture on galaxies, which is about, I think it's going to be about 45 minutes long. So, you might want to make sure that you have extra coffee or something, or a snack to be with you. And then once we wrap that up, Gary Palmer will come on. He's watching the show right now, and so he'll be talking about Cepheid variables in the Andromeda Galaxy. Molly Wakeling is going to be coming on with an episode of Astro Molly. We'll take a 10-minute break. Jerry Hubble is going to be on to talk about measuring star brightnesses, the way it was done and the way it's done now. John Briggs, his presentation is Edwin P. Hubble, Mount Wilson, and the Literature of Cosmology. So I think that's something that all of us want to see, but especially David Levy. He loves, of course, literature. Marcello Souza is going to join us too. Marcello has started up a program called The Young Stars of Tomorrow. And The Young Stars of Tomorrow is a national program in Brazil that is getting support from international partners, including Explore Scientific. We have our educational program called Mentor, and which has largely been spearheaded by Jerry Hubble. But we use Mentor as a program to train our own staff. And this is really our first international alliance with students. So this, it'll be very cool to see that played out. Marcello is going to bring on some special guests. These are students of the program, including Caroline Oliveira de Carmo, Isabelle Goncalves, Mariano, I'm sorry if I'm butchering names here, and Kessia de Oliveira Barbosa will be on. We also expect to have Cesar Brolo live from Buenos Aires, Karen Gillis, and several others as well. So I'm excited to have them on. Maxi Falares promises to be on. Adrian Bradley, I think, will be on, possibly Pekka as well. But it's going to be a great program and a good way to celebrate Edwin P. Hubble's discovery. So I also have another announcement. Although I haven't put it together yet, there was a young astronomer. Her name is Nicolina, and Nicolina she's only 8 years old, but she has been working with the Catalina Sky Survey to find asteroids, and she has identified. She has 18 candidates right now, and she is working with this pro-am group. And if they confirm one of her candidates, then she will in fact become the youngest research astronomer in the world. So I think it's very, very cool. So she will be on, and she'll be interviewed by JPL's Dr. Rosalie Lopez. And so I think it's a very cool program. Rosalie's from Brazil. If you saw her in some of her other programs or read about her in books or PBS or science programs that she's been on, I think she's the world record holder for discoveries of volcanoes in the solar system. So I think she has like 70 discoveries or something.
You had an interview episode with her.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't remember what the number.
She's becoming a very good friend. And so I'm very happy, very pleased that she has agreed to do that interview. Also, Nicolina will be interviewed by Dr. Marcello Souza to appear in a written article in Skies Up magazine, and so we're just really pleased that that's all happening. Of course, this week is Space Week, and this weekend on Friday, I will be giving a presentation to the Heart of America Star Party. So I've agreed to do a little lecture for them. And then we have on the 9th, we have Vivian White and Night Sky Network that is broadcasting the kickoff party, the moon party for International Observe the Moon Night. So that will be streaming not only on our channels, but also on some NASA supported channels. So it'll be very cool. And you guys will want to join that.
Today's the new moon too.
And and today's the new moon. Is that right?
Yep. So on when is the next weekend? Is the International Observe the Moon Night near the first quarter?
Yeah, actually, we do the kickoff parties on the 9th. Okay, but International Observe the Moon Night happens later. It's
the first quarter moon typically is when
right, which I think is the 12th.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So,
the 12th.
So it's
no eclipse.
We'll be having Global Star Party on the 12th as well.
Right. So no solar eclipse this new moon or anything like that.
I don't think so. What is happening during that week is we have on the 7th is the Draconian meteor shower. Mars is going to be in conjunction with the Sun. It is the anniversary of Luna 3 that photographed the lunar far side back in 1959. So that's when I was born. It seems like such a long time ago. And on Friday the 8th, aside from me giving a talk, the moon is at perigee, and Ejnar Hertzsprung was born in 1873. Yep,
That's the Hertzsprung diagram.
that's
fella.
right. And on the 9th, Mercury is in inferior conjunction, so with Venus only 3 degrees away from the moon that night. And then on Sunday, William Lassell discovered the moon of Neptune called Triton in 1846. So
My
it's a
weather
very
is not very
full
good.
astronomically themed week.
Yeah, yeah. My weather's not very good here for the next few days, so won't be able to see anything other than the white fluffies.
Right. Yeah, we're under the same situation here. Anyways, thank you so much for watching OpenGOTO community today. And let's see if there's any other comments before
That
I
was
let
an
you go.
experiment today. That was an experiment today with our
It
blast.
was, yeah. I mean, you don't know how quickly we put that together. Or maybe you do. You go, oh yeah, they slapped that one together. So. But no, it was nice to be able to identify it so quickly
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to get down to the segment that we wanted to watch. So that's awesome.
So my goal is to create a good index for our episodes, and we can have it on our website for people to find topics and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Since we can do a transcript now, and I figured out a way to get keywords and identify segments, that'd be good.
I know you're going to like this. Dino Monaco is watching, and
Oh yeah.
he says, "Hey guys, just wanted to say I love my Exos 2 PMC8, and thanks to Wes for helping me figure out my ASI Air Pro tracking problem."
Oh good.
Oh yeah, thank you, Wes. That's great, and thank you, Dino. That's awesome. And any other comments here? Wes is still helping here. That's great. Okay, so we'll see you tonight. And until that time, keep looking up. We'll be back on the air here in just about 2 hours. So take care. Thanks, Jerry.
Hi, this is Dave Eicher. This coming week marks 98 years since Edwin Hubble discovered the nature of galaxies and the cosmic distance scale. To celebrate, join me for a special talk on galaxies this week on Tuesday night, October 5th, on the Global Star Party, brought to you by Scott Roberts and Explore Scientific. I'll see you there. Happy stargazing.
Hi friends, Vivian White here from the NASA Night Sky Network, and I just want to invite you all to join us for the Global Moon Party happening October 9th from 3 p.m. on, that's Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to have such a blast. We have great folks from the International Observe the Moon Night joining us. We have NASA friends from the Visualization Studio and moon treks and all over the place. We have Icelandic poets to talk about the moon, presenting new work that they're doing. Space agencies from around the world will join us, and we hope you will too. Please get the word out. Let everyone you know who loves the moon know that we are kicking off the International Observe the Moon Night this October 9th. See you there.
Hi everyone, this is Terry Mann, and I'm the Secretary of the Astronomical League and the co-host of Astronomical League Live. We have a special event coming up on October 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're going to have a kind of Halloween party online. We have quite a few speakers. The first one is one of our regulars, one of our favorites, David Levy, and he will be doing celestial incantations. Next up, we'll have Mary Stewart Adams, passing between the worlds under October skies. We've also got Astro Bob, black holes where matter goes to die, and Molly Wakeling, spooky nebula of the night, and John Goss, the master of lunacy, and we do expect that name to stick. Barbara Harris, Algol, the demon star. Myself, Aurora, soul of the night. And we've got Carol Orge, the president of the Astronomical League. We're going to put a wizard hat on him and let him work his magic. So please let me personally invite you to join us October 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here. We hope to see you.
Why do we chase this thing? Jumping from one continent to the next, just to bathe for a moment in the absence of light? Who are we? What are we searching for?
T.S. Eliot wrote, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time."
One of the qualities of seeing an eclipse is it makes you understand that every given thing is in a particular patterned relation with every other thing.
It gives me a sense of scale, gives me a sense of where I fit into the universe.
It is art, it's poetry, it's this kind of experience of going and seeing totality in which what feels merely metaphorical is suddenly experiential encounter.
Immediately afterwards, you have that overwhelming desire to see another one. That's the moment an eclipse chaser is born.
These are folks who are running all over the world for this event that lasts all of 2 or 3 minutes. Who are these people?
It's unique each time, and therefore that freshness, even if we've seen it over and over again, oh my gosh, it has the potential to re-inspire us.
A total eclipse of the sun doesn't just unfold in the heavens. It transforms the minds and hearts of those who experience it firsthand. The same is true of journeys to the most remote regions of our planet. Whether we're standing on a mountain peak or in a stark polar landscape, we can't help but reflect on our place within the larger scheme of things.